Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. That was just a fascinating interview with an incredible individual who built just such a fantastic product and company. And so I thought it would be great to chat with the author of the book. Nancy Beal is with us now. She's the author. Nancy, remind us the title of the book.
It's called The Endurable Alex Tilley.
And what a great story he had. It was a real pleasure meeting him. Thank you so much for the introduction. What motivated you to write about Alex Tilley?
Well, he just was so impressive to me. I think entrepreneurs fascinate me to some degree. What kind of characters become entrepreneurs? What kind of personality attributes? And he's an important Canadian entrepreneur. And I think lots of people get inspiration from the struggles that he went through to become an entrepreneur. And there's just a lot of ups and downs to his story, and I was fascinated by it. And he's a very personable and interesting, smart, quirky, and thinks outside the box, just like many entrepreneurs do.
His personality certainly came through when chatting with him. So thank you very much for that. Can you read us something from the book?
I'm going to read you something about quality because that's one of Alex's main focus was to have quality in all of his products. And actually, the first time I met him, I was writing an article for a local newspaper. And what he told the audience, a group of new entrepreneurs there, is what I attempt to do is earn your lifetime loyalty. I will provide you with quality and service, and I will treat you so well because you pay my salary, and it is my pleasure to do that. I want to do that because I care. That is unequivocal dedication to doing one's best. Yet at times in his past, Alex's best wasn't good enough, as exemplified by his previous attempts to be a satisfactory employee or a successful student. Why was making the hat and other Tilleys so different? Perhaps what had to happen for Alex was for him to discover his mission in life. And once that was established, he channeled tremendous energy and effort to do his best to accomplish that mission. Gone was the mediocrity of his academic performances, along with the struggles of coming about at the whim of an employer. At Tilley Endurables, it was Alex's hand on the tiller. Being the captain of his own ship had been his dream all along. He just had to find which ship was his.
And he found it.
He did. He had a successful business just prior to Tilley Endurables, but it took him a long time to get there. He had some pretty dramatic failures that totally discouraged him from entrepreneurship. And then he's tried to be an employee, and he had some, I think he told you about Bell Canada, Bank of Nova Scotia, being fired from both, and all his experiences with those. And when he became an art dealer, renting art to businesses in Toronto, that's when he first finally said, okay, I can do this entrepreneurial business and I can survive at it. And the Tilley hat just came about because it was a hobby that became a business. The hobby gone haywire, one of his friends called it. So,
and one of the things that surprised me that I didn't know is that he started this the product development in the business, frankly, later in life. He wasn't a young person when he did this.
41 years old, and he worked, it was 1980 when he invented the Tilley hat, And 35 years later, at age 77, he sold the company. So in 2015. So yes, it was, yeah, 35 years of adventure. For him, it was an adventure.
After spending so much time with him and writing the book and doing the research associated with writing the book, I presume, and interviewing some people, what do you take away? What are there secrets to entrepreneurial success or secrets to a good life that you found through the process?
Ooh, that's quite a deep question. I think with Alex's story, I really found all the struggles that he went through, from having his brain injury that affected his memory to his attention deficit disorder. He had 4 wives, so personal struggles as well. And you heard about the partner that he gave half his company to this employee and then had to buy it back. Well, actually had to go to court for the right to buy it back, and then pay 1.4 million to do so. And I just think, how much adversity can one person handle? And it's really shows the entrepreneurial spirit and how he just the perseverance and you know I think things did get him down at times, but he just persevered and kept trying something new. When one thing didn't work, he'd try another. So to me, he was an inspiration. And also I have a lot of admiration for him. He's not a perfect man. There are things he did that, I don't agree with. But oh my God, there's just so much to him in terms of his generosity, his humanitarian side, his marketing genius, and just his ability to appreciate his customers and focus on customer service. You know how difficult, like these days, there's not a lot of customer service going on. We're really lagging in that. And he has I think his example is worthy of companies taking a second look and trying to up their game in the way that Alex did.
He's incredibly personable and funny. A
Yes,
true salesman slash marketer. Do you think that
yes.
was part of his success?
Oh, definitely. He just came up with the craziest things, like he told you about the elephant who ate the Tilley hat 3 times, and that was his most famous ad. And people would say, "Is that true?" And the fact that it was pretty humorous. And I think he had this gift of customer would write to him with a story and sometimes photographs, and he had this knack for turning it into an ad, just like he did with the zoo director with the elephant. He did that many, many times over. So he had these ads that people would just laugh at and be entertained by and question, oh, could this be true? They at least evoke their curiosity so that they would want to go into his store or look at his catalog, or he just had that knack of knowing what would entertain and capture people's hearts, and then combine that with quality in his products. He was persnickety to the nth degree, and he was proud to say that he was persnickety. And so combine that marketing acumen with the quality goods that people were buying, and he had a really winning formula.
He seemed proud that it was designed and produced in Canada.
Yes, yes. Now that's where a lot of the other business community questioned his judgment on that, because, as you know, it's much more cost effective to manufacture overseas. But Alex just felt that he wanted to do the right thing. And that's sometimes where, people would question whether he was a hardcore business guy, because I say he wouldn't be. He was an entrepreneur, but sometimes he would put priority on other things. And it was his staff. He says, I care about my staff. If I manufacture overseas, then I'm going to have to lay off all my staff. And I can't do that. I care about them. He had 100 people in his hat factory at one time. I think that number fluctuated over time, but and he had, so the hats were produced in-house in Toronto, and then the clothing was produced through subcontractors, initially in Ontario, but then he spread out a bit more across other provinces. But he kept almost everything in Canada. I think the one exception was the socks that he had produced in Iowa. But other than that, he was pretty adamant on trying to get Canadian suppliers where the quality matched. And but he paid for it because he found that the clothing was too expensive to sell anywhere else but in Canada. The hats were popular internationally. However, because he produced in-house for all the clothing, he just couldn't get the price point low enough to have the clothing sold internationally. And he had conversations with other entrepreneurs, and they said, how can you continue to produce in Canada? But he was pretty, it was Canadian pride. It was caring about his employees. And I think he just felt that he shouldn't be forced to manufacture overseas. And I think he found his peace with that. It was the bottom line was his. He was the sole owner of the company, and that was, after the lawsuit. And so it was his choice to make. He knew that he wasn't making as much money, but to him it was just a choice.
Nancy Beal, thank you so much for writing about Alex Tilley and the Tilley hat. Really appreciate it. Please remind us all what the title of the book is.
The Endurable Alex Tilley.
And one can get it online in bookstores?
In some bookstores, but mostly on Amazon.
Appreciate you sharing with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Brian, for taking the time.
That's our show for today, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at saga960am.ca. All my podcasts and videos go up on my website, briancrombie.com, as soon as the radio show goes to air. And I publish my videos on YouTube, and my YouTube channel would love it if you'd subscribe. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night.